Hello again, Jim Dowson here, your guest presenter with the Templar Daily Report, coming at you live from the Emerald Isle. How are you all? God bless each and every one of you. It's nice to see you. Remember, like the video, click subscribe, press the bell and comment below. It's very important also that you share. We need you to share because social media is controlled by the enemy, the lizard people. But we've got some exciting things coming up in the next few months to make sure that even if they do take us down from here, we'll still be alive and we'll still be able to contact you. Because, a lot of how can I put this? Part of the problem in the last 10 years has been so many cowboys out there. And I don't mean the cowboys in a good way, John Wayne. No, I mean cowboys, clowns, who think they're conservative, think they're running organisations, and it's one guy in a bedroom, in his mum's bedroom, putting out nonsense. The good thing is they're all getting cleared out. And it's only going to be people with resources and the technical know-how and skills and whatnot that will be able to survive. We will be them, of course. So we'll get back to some sanity and get rid of a load of this rubbish that's been pumped out into your computer screens every day. So we've got some really good things up our sleeve for the future, and you can be assured that you won't lose us because we've got everybody's emails. And if there's anybody in the chat who doesn't get contacted or pestered by our emails, you need to sign up for an email, because if we do go down, we can't get a hold of you. So it's really important that we have your email so we can tell you, we're on this, such and such, we're on here, we're on there, and we continue as normal. It's very important because remember, what's coming, I'm sure I don't have to convince you anymore, something bad is coming and we need to be in contact with each other. It's very important. So if we don't have your email, make sure we do have it. So just go onto the page and sign a petition or buy a wee trinket or something. We'll have your email. We can contact you. We can tell you where we're broadcasting from. Okay? Right, today I'm going to start a thing over the next few weeks with a wee verse out of the book of Proverbs. Many famous people. There's 31 chapters in Proverbs. It means you can read one a day. Sometimes twice, and you can read a wee bit more in a month with shorter days. But many great people made this a daily habit, and I would seriously, absolutely recommend that you make this a daily habit. Read one chapter, they're only short, a day. The beginning chapter's a wee bit long because it's telling you what it's all about, but after that, they're quite short and they're just practical help. It's 3,000 years of human wisdom contained in this short book. It's incredible. And people like one of my personal heroes, George Patton, the American general, he read this every day. Margaret Thatcher, mixed feelings. She read a chapter of Proverbs every day. It seems to be very great people do this as a matter of course. So let me I'll give you the introduction to it today, okay? This is Proverbs, or the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instructions of wisdom, justice and judgment and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel. To understand a proverb and the interpretations, the word of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Dear friends, don't be a fool, be a wise man. And we're going to go through this every day, a wee bit out of this. But in your own private time, read Proverbs. Absolutely. Well, we know God will add this, his blessing, to the public reading of his own infallible, inspired and totally inerrant word. Amen. But get yourself into Proverbs. But I'm going to take you through every day until we get right through the whole lot. Okay, so that'll maybe take us from now to Christmas or something. But I'll tell you, it'll be good. So we've got some very interesting things today. First of all, I just want to say how absolutely privileged I am to sit here. I was just thinking about it the other day. I was talking to a man who does a terrible job for a living. Horrible. I don't really do much. I don't do much for a living as such now because I've sort of got everything that I need. But going and toiling for 60, 70 hours a week, and I thought, what a lucky man I am. I like doing it. I love it. I love involved with it. I love all you people. And I love the whole order. But I think more than anything, I like the quality of people that I'm surrounded with. And there is nobody that I've ever came across, and I've been involved in many private business things. I've been involved in politics. I've been involved in lobby groups, pro-life groups, you name it. And I've never met a bunch of people as decent, as tolerant, as patient, and as gracious as you guys. Seriously. Not blowing smoke. I'm telling you the truth. And, example, some of you guys have been waiting for these Do's Vault books now for months. And you're just so patient. Nobody's moaned, nobody's complained. People have inquired, but there's been no grief. But the good news with them is you'll have them very shortly indeed. So thank you for your patience. And if anybody's wanting to order some before they're all sent out, please do so now. There'll be a link somewhere up here for the Deuce Vault book. It is a life-changing book, and I hope you enjoy it. And again, I would thank you for your patience for waiting this length of time. But you're going to have it very shortly now. And we would like to hear your opinions of it and come back to us. Listen, this book will challenge you. You might not like everything in it. It might challenge you. But what's the point of doing anything if it's not challenging us? Because through challenge we grow, we explore ourselves. And people who are always moaning about others, we have to remember one thing. If you want something reformed and made better, you have to start the reformation and the process of making something better in you. In you first. In me. In us. First, before we can make anything better. And a lot of people are screaming on the street with their bald heads and their can of beer, shouting and bawling about Muslims, saying they want Britain back to be the way it was and America back to be the way it was. Well, let's try and get Americans and British people to be back the way we used to be. Then we may get our countries back to the way they used to be. It's a good point. So I want to talk to you about this guy that I've never liked. I've got to tell you this, but you might have guessed by now, being a doer Ulster Scot, I don't like many people. But I've never liked Ben Shapiro. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to follow with you. How many people on here like Ben Shapiro? Let me see it comes. Oh, by the way, I couldn't get through this list today because there's too many, but I see all the unusual people. I see a new guy here, DJ Samuels, the Scorpions in the room, Angus Roxburgh. Nice speaking to you last night, Angus. Good young fella. And Colette Whitney. She's a lovely, lovely woman, that. You know that? She's very encouraging. And Colette, I like the words of encouragement you give me, and they do mean a lot to me. But I can't go through everybody today because there's just too many people on the page, which is a wonderful problem, but I won't miss you. Don't worry, I'll try and get through as many as I can. I see Paul Telfer, Scott Rash, Bartley Burker, Nick's in the room, John Monkman. I'll just get a few, Greg Howarth, and so on and so forth. But yeah, Ben Shapiro. No. So, vile creature, very clever, of course, yes. Ben Shapiro, never been a fan of him. He is an arch neocon Zionist fanatic. And he's no good. He's trash. I've always known he was trash. But now he's shown himself up for what he really is. But again, a lot of these pro-Israel, fanatical pro-Israel Christians, they don't see it. Ben Shapiro is one of the cheerleaders of this lobby. But when you see what he does, and we'll show you what he does here. Here he is, there he is, smug-looking guy. But if you see some of the images, I think we've got a couple of images where he's mocking the cross. I don't know, have we? Maybe no. Two, yeah. This guy has almost made a career, made it a point where he mocks Jesus, he mocks the crucifixion, he mocks the virgin birth. He is just a Christian hating zealot. But people still fall into his trap. I don't know why. I really don't know why. Yeah, part of the tribe, of course. But I don't know why people are so easily fooled. I really don't. I mean, you've got to ask yourself, look, we're going to show you a tweet that he put up. I mean, it's a couple of things. They're just disgusting. They're deeply insulting, deeply grievous and injurious to the name of our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ. It's just not good enough. But many, many neocon Christians support this guy. Zionist Christians think the sun shines out of his proverbial. I can't see that, but I'm sure he's saying something hideous. What does he say there? Aye. He won't be crossed again. Do I don't even want to read the words. They're outrageous. And he's a main celebrity. He's absolutely trash. So I have nothing to do with him. Be very careful with anything he says. And sadly, there's a lot of these TV, online celebrities that are no better. They're no better. So you need to be very, very careful how you deal with these folk because they are bad people and they do not have your best interests at heart. They're only interested in one place, one little spot in the world, and that's it. And they will use America. They will use Britain. Well, let's look at it. Do you want to go there? Let's go there. Do you want to go there? Now, before I start this rant, I am not a Jew baiter. I can't stand all these far-right crackpots who Jews this, Jews that, or Freemasons or Illuminati. I can't stand it. I've no time for any of it. And at the end of the day, our Lord did come from a Jewish background. But also, at the end of the day, the Jews rejected our Lord, utterly rejected and called from his death. And to this day, they hate him. Let's be very clear about this. If you go to Israel and you try and preach the gospel out in the street, you will be in trouble, serious trouble. And If you read the Talmud, you'll see the most terrible descriptions of how Christ is suffering in hell, boiling in excrement and all the rest of it. Horrible stuff. Unbelievable. So how folk can have this madness and this mad attachment is mad. Is insane. It's not sensible. Because we're being used by powerful lobbies, and the Zionist lobby in America is massive. It is in Britain. But look how we were repaid. The Balfour Declaration, where the British Empire handed over Palestine to be the Jewish homeland, we did that. The British did that. We gifted Palestine to the so-called Jewish people. And again, I want to be very clear here. People say they're the bloodline of Abraham. The vast majority of people who live in Israel are not of the Abrahamic bloodline. They're Khazars, they're from Russia, they're from the steppes, they're completely different people. They're pure white, myopic, they're nothing to do with the bloodline of Abraham. So don't be using that argument to try and fight back with me. And it's the old saying, Israel is to be blessed. Well, the question is this, and it's a question that the disciples asked. Who is the true Israel of God? Who is the true Israel of God? And Roman Catholics and Calvinists believe the same thing. They believe that the true Israel of God is the church, the bride of Christ, the ecclesiasta. The true church is the Israel of God. And I can show you. I mean, it's in the Bible. It's very clear. But we don't want to get into too deep. But the reality is, Britain gave the Jewish people a homeland from Palestine. They were supposed to share it with the Palestinians. That didn't go very well. And then they launched the most vicious terror campaign against British troops and British civilians, culminating in the bombing of the King David Hotel. I should have got a clip for you. But they killed over 90 people, civilians and military personnel, of the very nation who just gave them the land in the first place. During the Falklands War, they supplied the Argentinians with the missiles that blew up our ships and killed hundreds of our troops and maimed hundreds more. This is how we've been repaid with this. And the wars that America and Britain have fought in Iraq and Afghanistan and the carry on with Fudway Iran is all at the behest of that particular nation. So we have been used, and we have lost the blood of our sons to defend somebody. And remember, the only country in the world with illegal nuclear weapons, and I'm sure Americans are looking at this saying, Iran has no nuclear weapons, none. But that's all you hear in CNN. Iran's got nuclear weapons, or they're trying to get nuclear weapons. We must stop them getting nuclear weapons. There is a state who is bristling with illegal, under international law, every law you can think of, bristling with illegal weapons, and that is Israel. There is a country, the same country, that has its activists screaming at the West for being racist, for not allowing immigrants to come to our countries or daring to object to being flooded by immigrants. Is the only country on the planet that basically bans people of a different skin tone. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, thousands of Ethiopian Jews decided to move to Israel. They were afforded no rights whatsoever. And most of them were sent packing because they were Jewish. There's no doubt they'd been Jewish for centuries, but they had a different skin tone. That, my friend, is good old-fashioned racism. I'm not there to say it was a good thing or a bad thing. What a country does with its own ethnic makeup is their business. But don't pee in my leg and tell me it's raining. Don't come to my country with your activists and all that and tell me that I'm racist because I don't want tens of thousands of Somalis pitching up in Britain. Or an American doesn't want hundreds of thousands, millions of Mexicans pouring over the border. When you, in your own country, won't allow anybody else, even the people of your own religion, to come and settle in your land if they have a different skin tone. No, I don't think so. So I don't know why one country is allowed illegal nuclear weapons, one country is allowed to legislate to racism into the actual fabric of the society, and nobody says a word. Nobody says anything, because if you dare criticise them, the whole world collapses on you, and you're called a Nazi, you're called a stormtrooper, you're called anti-Semitic. Let me tell you something, the Arabs are a Semitic people. It's nonsense. You just cannot have a discussion, a grown-up discussion about this country or this particular religion without being dragged through the mud and called every pejorative known to man. Well, I'm fed up with it. As I say, I'm not a Jew hater, but anybody who rejects Christ, whether you're Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Taoist, you're no friend of mine, because I am instructed to band together with God's people. And that means those who accept Christ Jesus, not those who killed him. That's it. So that's my views on it. Right, so I'm sure a lot of you are upset at that, but that's the way it is. Now, I want to show you something that maybe pick your spirits up a wee bit today. I hope it does anyway. I was talking the other day about how insane the left wing are. And I think sometimes we forget how insane they are. Now, these are not people at the bottom of the pile with no brains. These are clever people who are working in universities and high-paid jobs. But when things don't go their way, they lose their minds. And I want to show you some examples. Have a look at this. Am I okay with that?
Arrested for having food colouring. He's here to save the Amazon, and he has been arrested for having food colouring.
The chant of protest as police run towards demonstrators chained to a hearse in the very heart of London. The images are shocking, and they're designed to be. The hearse symbolising a dying planet, the rebels ready to risk their safety for future generations.
I'm just a father of 2 children that's very frightened of their future.
And emotion is often close to the surface.
Wellington, Madrid, Paris and New York. Environmental activists have taken their protests to the streets again in cities across the globe. Young, old and in between.
How can I possibly follow that? That is mad as a box of rocks, isn't it? They're crazy. They're completely crazy. Although I do love that. I do love that clown guy. His mother must be ever so proud that she can. I'm going to book him for the next kid's party. His mother carried him, right, for 9 months, folks. 9 months to carry this guy. She went through the pains of labour. And then she spent 20 years rearing him, feeding him, clothing him, maybe having to work 2 jobs to get him through college. And this is what she gets at the end of that. Oh, she must be proud. She must be saying, that's my boy. He's absolutely barking mad, isn't he? Mad as a brush. But anyway, God bless his wee cotton socks. He's very artistic. I liked it when he kept putting his tongue out. If you're a policeman, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with a nutter like that? I don't know. I think these people genuinely need treatment. They need medical assistance of some description. But sadly, that one at the beginning swinging the cans about in Washington, D.C. What was that about? Who sits in the house? Okay, like, politics gets us all a bit passionate. I get it. Okay, I understand it. So you're watching the election results on election night. Oh, it looks as if Donald Trump's going to win. Oh, I'll wrap myself up in bandages, put a look, tie cans to my butt, get a whistle, and I'll go on the main street of the city and run about like this. What are they doing? What's wrong with this person? It's probably a college lecturer, a university dean, or some kind of social science lecturer. I mean, what is that? What is it? What are they doing? I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. It's absolutely incredible. Crazy. But listen, this is dangerous because these folk are in charge. That's the problem. That person won't be a bag lady. That person will have a decent, respectable job, probably in charge of things and in charge of other people. I don't know. there's something wrong with them. And this mob, did you see them? Did we get them? Look at this mob. You don't have them in America. We've got them here. Maybe show you this picture. Look at them. There's hundreds of them. They're all wandering about doing all this airy-fairy dancing and weird stuff. What on earth are they doing? And do you know, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, that mob in the red, they actually changed and done all their costumes in the Tate Gallery, one of the most prestigious galleries in the world. It's like the Guggenheim, it's in London, the Tate Gallery. They actually all changed into their frocks and their costumes in there. If I tried to get in there on a demo day, they'd phone the police. So they're all in it together. They're godless, therefore they are brainless, they are mindless, therefore they are soulless. They're gone. They are the devil's children. And while we may be laughing, and who couldn't laugh, but we shouldn't laugh that much, because these poor souls are on a fast track to a lost eternity, and they will burn in the fires of hell because they've rejected God. And this is only one manifestation of the rejection: lunacy, madness, and insanity. But God has to make them mad out of benevolence, because if they knew the horrors that awaited them in the pit of hell, the bone and hair and gore-lined channels that they will be dragged down to the pit, what else? That would be cruel. That would be a cruel God to let them know that. So he's made them mad. Let them enjoy their short time on earth before they're gone, snapped up and destroyed for all eternity. That's where they're going. Right, I want to talk to you this story. Last story today, a good story this. Well, it's not a good story. It's very interesting, but it's not good at all. It's terrible. The changing racial and ethnic composition of the US electorate. Now, this matters. Again, we're not afraid to speak about anything. We'll speak about the Jewish thing. Although I've absolutely no time for these crackpot, lunatic, crazy people who just hate Jews. No, can't stand them. So if you think I'm one of them, you're very much mistaken. Can't stand these people. And I have no time for either all these white power, all that nonsense. I can't stand all that. It's tedious and it's unchristian. But we have to look at realities, and we have to see, because these affect voting patterns. Because the fact of the matter is, most ethnics in America do not vote for Donald Trump. So it makes a difference. And we're in the middle of a huge campaign now, trying to fight the hardest we can to get Donald Trump re-elected. So we're doing that behind the scenes. We can't really talk about it. By the way, we appreciate any support we're getting, although we haven't had the massive support that we had the last time. So if you have any inclination to help us on that, please do. There should be a link. One of our brothers will put a link up to the election campaign, because it's getting intense now. We're running out of time. We've got a month to go, and we need to do everything we can. But anyway, in all 50 states, the share of non-Hispanic white eligible voters declined between 2000 and 2018, with 10 states experiencing double-digit drops in the share of white eligible voters. This is serious. During the same period, Hispanic voters have come to make up increasingly larger shares of the electorate in every state. These gains are particularly large in southwestern USA, where states like Nevada, California, and Texas have seen rapid growth in the Hispanics' share of the electorate over an 18-year period. These trends are also particularly notable in battleground states such as Florida and Arizona. They are likely to be crucial in deciding this year's elections. Voters who are Hispanic, Black, Asian or other race are ethnically accounted for more than 76% of this growth. Black, Hispanic and Asian registered voters historically lean towards the Democrats. Hispanic eligible voters accounted for 39% of the overall increase of the nation's eligible voting population. So 40% of the increase in the voting population was down to Hispanics. Hispanics made up 13% of the country's overall electorate in 2018, nearly doubling from 7% in 2000. It's quite incredible. Shares of non-Hispanic white eligible voters have declined in all 50 states. Demographic change could continue to reshape the electoral landscape in future elections. While Texas is not currently considered a battleground state, demographic shifts have led some to wonder if the state could become more competitive politically down the road. There's no doubt about it. Demographics, my friend, is destiny. You can do what you want, you can say what you want, you can stamp your feet, you can shout and bawl and do what you want. You can spit at the wind. You won't make a blind bit of difference. Demographics is destiny. And in the future, it will be, if Donald J. Trump, please God, wins this election this time, I honestly don't think there'll ever be another Republican president. Not this side of the Civil War anyway. It's not possible because of the demographic shift. And let me tell you, it's going to be a hard job getting Donald J. Trump elected this time. Some people are saying about a landslide. I'd like them to come and show me the figures. But I've seen figures, but I'm very nervous because of the demographic shift. I mean, since Donald Trump was last elected, millions of white, Anglo-European, background people have died, and millions of other people have arrived or been born. So it's going to be very difficult. But after that, it's going to be impossible because we just won't have the numbers. Yeah. And it's just, even if Donald Trump loses, it's going to be chaos. If he wins, it's going to be chaos. American people cannot win out of this. It's just going to be chaos either or. So that's where we are, and it's very dangerous. But this is what happened. A guy said to me, I seen a poll the other day. What was a guy saying? I seen a poll, and it said, what do you ascribe the collapse of Western society to? And it had choices. One was the Reformation. One was the vote being given to everybody. There was another reason. None of them are correct. The main reason was a little white tablet called the contraceptive pill. That's it. Well, I went to school in a town called Airdrie, and my school had 2,000 pupils. That school now is half the pupils. And there used to be 3 high schools, now there's 2. When I went to school from my street, we filled a double-decker bus. You couldn't even fill a station wagon, an estate car from that street anymore. We used to have over 100, between 80 and 100 children in that street. I don't even think there's 6 children in that street now. That's where we are, folks. Because we're now into what happened in the 60s when the pill came out. Our generation, our birth rate, it halved. And then those people who are part of that half, they halved. And now we're into that halving. So if you went from 100, you go to 50. You go from 50 to 25. You go from 25 to 12.5 in our lifetime. So from 100 to 12 in our lifetime. That's what's happened. And now we're getting into halving again. Now we're into 6. So we went from 100 when I was born to 6 now. How can that be sustainable? And it affects industry, it affects the mental outlook in people, because young people bring a vibrancy that only young people can bring. Yes, they're stupid and mad, and they make a lot of noise and do a lot of stupid things, but that's what youth does with a country, because they go on to form the businesses and go on to form the revolutions. They are the people you really need. And we've lost them. Well, we've not lost them, we just refuse to have them born. Now, just have to plug this. For 24 hours only, drum roll, 24 hours only. And I'll tell you for why. Let me just tell you the reason first, brother, before you put that picture up. We have the bill in for all the groundwork we had to do. We have the bill in for all the fancy stone curves for the windows and the doors. Oh! So we have to raise some funds very quickly. So we do need your help. But rather than just ask you for money, which is not very nice, it could be considered rude. So what can we do? Give people a bite of the cherry. For 24 hours, we're going to knock $200 off the Life membership. Now, I know people might say, well, I paid full membership last month. That's not very fair. Life isn't fair, but sometimes you have to do what you're having to do. So rather than feel cross about it, feel glad that some of your brothers and sisters are getting a bargain. That's the way to look at it. But for 24 hours only, the link is there. You're going to get a bargain of a lifetime, because we need to bring in some capital to pay for this rather large bill for the Gothic arches and Gothic stone and all the drainage works and all that. That had to be done by professionals. Can't really do that ourselves. So we really need you to lend a hand to us now, and we do need you, because this thing, yeah, it's a great project. I love being involved in it. It's wonderful, but it's hideously taxing on our mental outlook, our physical outlook, and our financial outlook. So we do need everybody to help. And again, the old story is, if you can't go as stretched to a full life with $200 knocked off, and that's your $200, that's yours to put in your pocket, it's $200 off, we would ask people to see what they can do. Because if everybody does a wee bit, in Scotland we say, many a meikle makes a muckle. A load of people giving that becomes that. So everybody, shoulder to the wheel time, let's get this done. Later on in the week, as we told you last week, we're going to be releasing the chapel that's going to be the receptacle for people's remains, the Chapel of the Glorious Dead. We're going to be releasing the spots in there that can be reserved. We're going to do that later on this week. So we would hope everybody's ready for that and everybody's ready to jump on that, because that should ensure that the whole thing runs smoothly, everything's done, and there's no expense spared. We're not extravagant people, we're the poor knights. Everything will be very plain, but instead of putting 2 inches in the floor, we want to put 4 inches in the floor. Instead of putting 2-inch wood in the roof, we want to put 4-inch wood in the roof. We want to do this right because we're doing this unto God. Nobody benefits out of this other than all of us. And ultimately, we're showing our devotion to God by doing what we can to the best of our ability. God does not deserve second best. And I am not prepared to be involved in something where we give shoddy work. It has to be done right because it's done unto the God. If it was mine, yeah, no problem. Do it. Put in it. It wouldn't matter to me. This is for God and it's for future generations. It's for your children, it's for my children, for our grandchildren. This is to last 300, 400, 500 years. So we cannot afford to skimp just because we're a bit short. I would rather wait till we've got what we need and do it right. That's it. There's no compromise. We're Templars. We're not some cowboy outfit. We do it right. We do it once and we do it the right way. We don't need to do it again. So everybody, please get behind us and help us at this particular time, because this is a stage in development which is very crucial and very difficult. So I'll leave it with you. I know you're good people and I know you'll respond. Well, that's all I've got today. I hope today's talk on Ben Shapiro and having a look at the crazies, it was funny. Yeah, I know it's funny. And it is, but it's not that funny, because these people, sadly, are going to be the people who are lording it over your children, my children. God help them. God help them. And the demographics you've seen there, and I don't like talking about racial differences because that's a kind of lefty thing. They're the only ones that's obsessed with race, but we have to look at it from a political angle, because we know people of a certain ethnic background vote in a certain way. So I just wanted to point that out to you and how dangerous it is and how serious the situation is, okay? But other than that, we just have to plod on. And this is a community of people who I hope love one another, trust one another, respect one another. And that's the way we mean to continue. But again, if we don't have your email, please give us it, because we could be taken down at any moment. So we need to make sure we're all still in touch. And then it will just be seamless. It won't make any difference. And all these IT geeks in the Silicon Valley can do what they want. They won't be affecting us. And let's make sure they don't get one over on us. So that's it for me. Tomorrow I'm going to see if I can bring a guest on. I'll see, maybe Nick would come on tomorrow. I don't know. Nick's in the room. He can maybe tell us. So, yeah, I wonder if Nick can come in. If he can come in, you're more than welcome. I know you all enjoy a talk from Nick, so I'll ask him, see if he comes on, and we'll take it from there. But that's as far as we've got today. Well, each and every one of you, I want to give you a message from me personally. Love your elderly and take time to love and nurture your young ones, because they are all our future. And just as the old people brung us into the world and loved us, we must love them now as they're getting old in life and look after them. Nick says he's coming in tomorrow. Good. We'll see Nick Griffin in here tomorrow if the good Lord's preserve us. But that's it from me. And remember, until then, stick close to God. You won't go far wrong. Deus Vault.